Okay, we're going to do a video on how to do some gift wrapping. We have two different ways that we can do the edges here. We have this style, and we have this style here. And I'm going to go over both of them and the advantages of one over the other. To start off, we're going to take the box and we're going to find the longest dimension. We're going to set that out on the wrapping paper this way. I like to do it this way partly because it ends up with those overlapping bits here on the short sides here, which make a nice edge. It's a little bit more difficult when it's on a longer edge. The other thing is, since this is the second narrowest dimension, when you wrap around going up like this, it makes sure that you have enough paper so you don't accidentally run out. If you do it this way, you might get to the end and then discover that it's not quite wide enough. So let's go into this. We have the longest dimension. We're setting it out here. I'm going to take this edge of the paper and put it up to the edge of the box here. And I'm going to do the same thing over here as well. I'm going to take this, I'm going to fold it up right up here. So this is going to be the height of the box on both sides. I'm going to just do a little crease up here so that we know where we're cutting to. And you can either use a line or something like that if you have something like that. Otherwise, you can kind of just eyeball it. As long as it's close, that's what's really important. And if you're doing about the same height all the way across, that should be fine. So, let's do this. And your line doesn't have to be exactly perfect on this. So, check again, make sure it needs to be at least half, 2/3 of the height of this. It's about the same height though, that's good. Next step, we're going to take the edge here, and we're going to, actually first we're going to flip this over. We want to have the back side on the top when we're doing this, so that we have a nice solid piece on the front. We're going to take the bottom edge here of the paper and put it right up here on this edge. Then we're going to take the rest of the paper here and we're going to make this into a tube. You can check to make sure things are straight by looking at the edges here, make sure that they line up. I'm going to try to find this edge here again of the box. I'm just going to use my hands here on both sides to pull it tight by pushing the bottom layer upward here and then the top layer down with my thumbs. I'm going to use that to create the tension. If you're not as comfortable with this, you could also anchor this part with tape before we start doing this wrapping pit. That'll make it a little bit easier for you to maintain that tension. So now that I have this wrapped and I have that, I'm actually just folding this so I can know where I'm going to cut again here, because this is going to be extra paper. We want this to be at least halfway across the height here. I normally go most of the way across. And again, it doesn't need to be exact. So, we have that. This is in place. That's in place. Now that we have that there, we can push this up again with our hand, pull this here so it's nice and tight on the box, or relatively tight at least. And then once we have that in place, we're going to take a piece of tape, and we're going to put that right here. This is the first piece of tape, or it's the second piece of tape if you use one to anchor in the beginning. Now if you didn't use this to anchor, you have the advantage now because you can slide this back and forth, so you can get that centered again if you messed it up. Now is a good chance to check that. That looks like it's about right. That also looks like that's about right. For the first method here, method A, we want this to be no more than the height of the box. We don't want it to go past. The second method, method B, will work even if it goes beyond here. So we're actually just going to move this off center intentionally here, just to show that second method off too. So let's do the first one here. First method. We have our fold on the top here, or our joint of paper. What we're going to do is we're going to come down and we're going to crease this top here on the corner. Just like that. Then we're going to come down to the side. And right at the edge of the box, we're going to fold that in, and it's going to make a nice 45-degree angle on the side here. So it's going to look like that. Straight down on the side of the box and 45 degrees on the paper. We're going to do the same thing on the left side here. And that's nice and across. Then we're going to take this edge here and here. And we're going to fold in on that. So we're going to do this and go in so it's right up against the side of the box. And then once we have that in place, we're going to take it across the bottom and get another 45-degree angle like that. So we pull the paper across, then we get another nice crease here and the 45-degree angle there. Same thing on the left-hand side. So we just pull that flap in, goes across, fold down there. Now we have this nice little flap on the bottom. And we can flip that over so it'll look like it's going to look because it's actually the top of the box. And we can either tape it like this, or we can do a little flip here, do fold a little bit under. Doesn't have to be exact, although if you want to, you can spend more time eyeballing it and getting it more precise there. Worked pretty well. Just put a piece of tape there. This is the second piece of outside tape. And we're just going to put that on there like that. And we're done. So that's the first style there. Now the second style will work even if you went beyond the height. So you can see here, this is actually a little bit taller than the edge of the box. And because of that, when we try to do the first fold here, it doesn't work quite right because it's going to bunch up goofy. But the second method will work around that as well. What we do is we start on the sides instead this time. So we're going to take the edge here, and we're going to just fold straight down on that edge, all right, on the right side. And we're going to crease up here, so we're going to get that 45-degree angle on top, and we're going to get that 45-degree angle on the bottom here. That bottom one can be a little bit tricky to get, so sometimes you need to lay it down on the table to get that flat. But see, we have the nice 45 and 45 here. And then we're going to do the same thing on the left-hand side, so we're going to take that up. This is coming with it, so we can just do both layers at the same time. But sometimes you might need to do that bottom one twice because it has that flappy bit from the back side. And we got that. So now we have these two triangular flaps, like that. Since this is the bottom side of it, because we have the overlap, we want this to go up next, and then we're going to have the top go down on top of that. And you can have it either look like that, or you can, again, fold it underneath and have it just look a little bit more finished, like that there. And we're going to take a piece of tape, and this is our third piece of tape. So we have 3 pieces of tape on the outside here. We got 1, 2, and 3. And we have a nicely wrapped present. There we go.